you are a mixed culture child. You're a mixed kid. What was it like for you? What kind of challenges did you have?
Back then when I was younger and even in middle school, the no sabo kid jokes and all that weren't a big thing until I think high school. Yeah, whenever I got to high school, it was a thing. But I've always gotten respect for it. It's easy for me to explain and me to say to someone and they're like, oh yeah, like wait, let's not go there. Like let's not get into those conversations.
You're getting old.
Yes, I am.
So's your sister. What's that like? How does it feel knowing that your baby sister is about to go bye-bye?
Seeing her choose, finally get comfortable, and even if she's not comfortable yet, I know while she's in college, she's gonna figure herself out. She's brave for that. And being like one of the first in our family, even on my mom's side, to leave Texas it's insane. What am I gonna get her for her present? 'Cause I still haven't even given her graduation present. And I
Oh wait, we gotta give her a going away present or something? You have a boyfriend?
Yes, I do.
When you first told me that was a thing, I told you that I had to meet him.
I did not hesitate with this idea because
Welcome to the Teevee Show Podcast. I am once again joined by my beautiful, amazing, grown-up ass daughter, 20-year-old. Talked about it recently. She will be a regular on the show because I would like to have the opportunity to actually share what she's learning and have big grown-up conversations and actually even share if what I taught her matters. Was it? If it really was useful. Say hi, okay?
Hello. I'm back.
She is back. I got a lot of great feedback the last time around from people saying that they really enjoyed it. Several people said, man, I wish I could have talked that well when I was that age. I said, me too. You're well spoken, you're well put together. So thank you for making the world think that I kicked ass.
Okay.
I was going to tell you something earlier that I figured I might as well tell you here. It's really neat to see you growing and you're doing all the photography thing. And it's kind of cool because I'll have people reach out.
Yeah.
I had somebody new reach out to Larry. They said, hey, do you think Fair would she be interested? Okay, so maybe I don't know the exact word, but something to the effect of, would Fair be interested in wedding photography?
Yes.
There it is. So if this is the first you heard of it, we're gonna, it's Eddie.
Oh, yes. Newly engaged.
Yes, you saw that. Newly engaged Eddie. He asked if he listed.
Ay, no pues wow.
So, like you may have heard, we have an audience member today in the house. Laugh away from the mic. You're gonna peek. It's okay. It's okay. You can go ahead and pick it up now. He's just blown away by what he's witnessing. He couldn't keep it together. I don't blame him. The brilliant in front of him, like times two. Anyway, Eddie reached out and I told him that I think so because you wanted to get into the wedding season, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that you can work it out.
I mean, I have done wedding before. Well, he wants like actual on site. So I've done wedding photo. Whoa.
Okay. So I don't know. He just said wedding. So it could be on site. It could be pre-wedding.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So that's like a whole package. It's the before, it's like even just engagement shoot and all that.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to share that with him. You heard it here first. So in today's podcast, I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask her, and I actually asked her, do you have something?
No, they'll come as...
So I asked her to come with something prepared, but even if she didn't, I had a handful of ideas and things I wanted to talk about. The first thing is, since you were children, I wanted to brainwash you with the idea that you were problem solvers, right? Do you recall that? What do you know? What do you remember about that entire idea?
About being problem solver?
Yes.
I know you have sword instilled. Is that a word? Yes. Okay. I know you have put that into our minds. I guess you taught us that if we were to run, and I think it's because a lot of things, it started off very small as a child. It could be something spilled. That was the beginning of it all. Problem solve, like problem solve, Anna. We're spilling water. Don't sit there and cry about the water being spilled. What do you do to solve the problem? Pick it up from spilling further and go get napkins. And so it started off very small. There's no reason to cry and run to someone when there's solutions in your face. Like it's there. But there always is a need, and there is always times where there are better solutions. So reaching out, coming to you to talk about it, but after we have tried other things. Because I think in most cases as a child, it could come off as just being whiny, like just do it for me kind of things. And I think you wanted us to stay out of that.
Mind space.
Yeah, that mind space of you need your parents' help all the time or get help all the time that you can, because being little isn't an excuse, especially if we caused the issue. If I made the mess, if I got myself into a situation, I got stuck up on a tree. Find your way down, Faye. You got up there somehow, so find your way down.
That actually happened.
That happens all the time. Like, it all started with little things.
Daddy, she's stuck in the tree.
And so it grew from there. I think after that, I naturally became a problem solver, and I want to say that's one of my best.
I'm glad you took it there.
Yes, because I know it is. I know people respect me for my problem solving. It gets me lots of places, and it shows who I can be. Because although I may not have like the talents or I don't come with the talents, because I'm a natural problem solver. I think we spoke about this in the last one. I feel I can pick up anything. Because if I don't have knowledge on this one thing and it's obvious to someone and they're like, it would be nice if you had this knowledge, and I'm going to go gain that knowledge somewhere else, that insight. And so
there's somewhere where you can find that information. Something happened, you need to fix it, you need to resolve it, you need something, but you're lacking, there's a gap in information. So, and that's what I did trying to still, like, in the example of the spilled water, it's just a matter of acting on it instead of just, this actually happened, in which I'm like, okay, it's spilled, but now what? Something. Stop it from spilling, pick up the water, get some paper towels, so forth and so on. It's not getting so emotionally and then just in awe of the moment or just in shock of the moment. So, and we had multiple instances of that throughout your lives, and I try to instill it because it is a way of the world. The world, society rewards people that actually are good problem solvers. Society, the world pays people that can solve bigger problems more money because they're capable of looking at a situation and resolving it, fixing it, making it better and whatnot. I asked all that. Thank you for all that information, because it is true. I also notice, I imagine that at work, that's something that you excel at. You have to, because you weren't necessarily quick with all the skills as soon as you showed up. And that's true in any job. Even if you go to college and you get a degree, or even if you're trained in another company, this other company that you may be at now may be totally different. Or you may not have all the resources that the previous company had, so forth and so on. So you have to be able to problem solve. The better you are at that, the more you excel. I don't say easy life gets, but easier.
Yeah.
Because you can fix almost anything. And I think I've said this to you. Almost everything is figure outable. I've said this to you before, right? So the big reason I'm bringing this up is because a couple of weeks ago, you told me that you had a photo shoot. It was a little challenging. Why was it challenging? Just if you can share. You want any details of the individuals, just why was it challenging as a photographer in that moment?
I think in that moment it was one, I should have caught it from the beginning, I allowed a short photo shoot for a size that I shouldn't have allowed it. I knew in my head that they would, with the size, of the group, and with all the other like issues, the biggest the group it was, and then the time that I allowed them to schedule me for, which is 30 minutes, which is 30 minutes is very, very little for a photographer to shoot. Like if I had even just a couple or one person, I don't think I ever shoot for 30 minutes. If I'm being realistic with myself, I always go over and beyond for people. If I'm not happy with something, I'm usually spending more time there until I can get something I'm happy with. And then I also had to deal with different personalities, different ages, and so it was hard, and I tried my best, but in the end, it wasn't my fault. I had great quality pictures, but I still wasn't proud of the product because of all the different personalities I had to deal with. And
how many people was it?
12 to 15.
It's a lot of people to try to coordinate.
In 30 minutes.
Incredibly challenging to do that in an hour to get everybody to coordinate. But the reason I asked you to share a little about that, because I heard a couple of things. One is that one part of the complaint was that they couldn't hear your instructions.
Yes. There was a waterfall at one point behind them. I talked about this today. It's the funniest thing. There was a water fountain. Another thing, hard thing was it was raining outside, and so we were stuck in such a small place, and everybody was hot. And once we went outside and it was sprinkling, some people didn't like it. You could tell that they weren't happy. And then I was speaking to someone in particular because they didn't look happy, so I was trying to like cheer them up. And while I was speaking to them and calling to them several times, everybody's looking at that one person, and they told me they couldn't hear me. And so I started screaming after that. I started screaming, and even then I didn't get a great picture of that. I mean, I would be proud to put on my website or be proud to post, just because they weren't still looking at the camera, but I couldn't control that.
So in an effort to solve that problem for you in the future, I got you something. Feel free to unbox it.
Oh my goodness. This is... I talked about this today.
Did you?
Yes. I'm gonna hold this around my...
I didn't realize it was going to be this big, by the way. This was kind of an accident. It needs a bunch of batteries. But you kind of hold it here.
Yeah.
I don't even know. You figure that out later. Yeah, you unlock it there.
That is crazy.
You have a little voice. You have a big voice, but at a distance with that many people, it is a challenge.
Yes.
And what better way is in the future, you can have big events. So as your father, I'm like, how can I help her with that?
Gosh.
This will never be a problem again. I'm not going to turn it on.
Yeah, you had to like unlock it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about that today. It's funny.
Yep.
Because I honestly told myself, I was like, I don't even want to put myself in that position again. I'm not taking big group photos again.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I think I'm just going to change the way my services are listed. If I shouldn't allow 30 minutes. This is a learning point for me. Yeah. Problem solving. So I'm solving a problem that could happen in the future, which is this again. So one, I'm not going to allow my 30-minute sessions for that big of a group.
Yeah. Organizing them alone is he's going to take 15 and 20.
Literally,
like,
yeah.
Never mind the photos, like you, here, you.
And then it wasn't even that, it was just one big group photo that was promised. I also allowed individual group photos after, like, in that contract. So in organizing individual groups and then putting them all together for a big group, it was very complicated.
You got a lot of personalities to deal with and distance, volume, whatnot. So that's one way to at least eliminate that. You're figuring out the rest, so make sure to package it. So good for you, though, putting yourself out there. And I know that pictures still look great.
Yeah.
You still have a level that you aspire to. So that was just my way of saying, hey, let's fix that problem. It's not going to be an issue, at least that part of it. And if nothing else, you can use that at your parties. Like,
Yeah. That.
after soon. So, you're welcome.
Thank you. I was not expecting that.
That was the goal.
I was like, saw you pointing it out, and I was like, where is this going?
And like, keep talking. Anyways, let's get into the meat of the podcast. Enough of the goo goo gaga. Get it? Goo goo gaga, baby. I have a big question for you.
Okay.
And that is, well, your dad's Mexican. And in case you guys didn't know that, I'm Mexican. Even my fellow Mexicans sometimes say I don't look Mexican, but never mind that. I'm Mexican, and your mother is white American. She's born in Ohio, and in many ways, you're a mixed kid. I would rather call you mixed culture because I believe that's closer to the truth. And we're all mixed in some way. But mixed culture in terms of American culture, and then the Mexican culture that is part of mine now.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I never talked about with you, and that blatantly, because one of the things I always try to do is make sure that you're proud of being of the Mexican culture.
Yes.
I think I did a good job with that.
Oh, yes.
I always try to make sure that you're proud of that without dismissing American culture, your mom's side, or anything American in that regard, because I am also American citizen. So although I'm born in Mexico, I'm multicultural. But you are a mixed culture child. You're a mixed kid. And I can't help but see a lot of things that are coming up and trends, even on TikTok. There's a no sabo kid.
Yes.
Right? Which is crazy. It's funny, but it's insulting at the same time. What was it like for you being from both cultures and, going to your mom's side of the family, their parties, and you look different than them, and then coming to mine, and then you obviously can't speak to your grandparents because I did a bad job teaching me Spanish. We talk about that in a second. But what was that like for you growing up? What kind of challenges did you have that maybe you didn't even share with me? I really don't think we spoke about that enough.
Yeah. I think younger, it was never an issue because a lot of people assumed I was a mixed kid because I have the hair, I have the skin tone of a darker person. And so a lot of people always assumed, and back then when I was younger and even in middle school, the no sabo kid jokes and all that weren't a big thing until I think high school. Yeah, whenever I got to high school, it was a thing. But I've always gotten respect for it because it's easy for me to explain and me to say to someone is, all I have to say is my parents are divorced. And they're like, oh, yeah, like, wait, let's not go there. Like, let's not get into those conversations. And that's true. It's because I was raised in a more American household. I spent more time at my mom's house than at my dad's house. And the times that I did have with you, they were very limited on time. So we were doing all these things. And I guess one of the things that we weren't so worried about was a language barrier. We were just like, okay, let's get to our activities for the weekend. But I didn't have a lot of issues because I have the skin tone, I have the hair, and I have a lot of it. And I mean, I did have like a best friend whose family like kind of they didn't force in a good way, in a good force. Made me order for myself in Spanish. So I had that. I had those people in my life who cared about me learning that. But I always still was in touch with my culture because I'm close to my family and close to my tias and my tios. Even if they did speak Spanish to me, like I feel like I could understand them enough because I'm surrounded by it. I'm surrounded by the love. The only issues which is crazy, that I faced was what was I mixed with. Those are like the kind of uncomfortable situations I have gotten in is what culture what is my background, like what race am I? That's always
your hair, like, oh my god.
Yes, it's always been a thing of a debate of what race I am. Jokes about who's my dad, because I can say I'm Mexican, but most people can say I look Puerto Rican or I look black or and there's all these jokes that would come with it. And I don't think it was because people would kind of use it in a more mean way growing up, because they necessarily didn't speak that great about that race in general. And then they would tell me I look like that race. And I'm like, well, I mean, I had no problem. I've never had any problem being called any other race or being asked if I'm a specific kind of race because it's human. And I respect that. I find it beautiful that I can look like a different culture than what I'm not. The battery's low.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay. But the fact that people kind of used it more as a joke, aimed towards a joke towards me, I found mean and insulting for, the race they were calling me.
They were saying it with a negative connotation.
Yes.
They weren't saying it as a compliment, which is one thing that you actually embraced. They were saying it like, ha ha, you look black. Ha ha, you look Puerto Rican.
Yes. And so I had that issue. And then there goes the jokes of, did your mom, I know like milkman jokes.
Yeah. Those have been around forever.
Yes. And I knew my dad was my dad and my mom was my mom. And those jokes are insulting to my parents. And so, because they made me. And so that one, and what comes with being half white, one of the things that I got was, you don't understand because you're white. You have a privileged mom. And it would hurt. And I know it's because I never actually spoke up about my parents. People knew my mom was a white person. And I would get those kind of jokes. And even from friends. It's like, well, you have a white mom. You're good. You're financially stable. You have all this. And it's not that easy. My mom has gone through difficult times that no one knows, but you assume because she's white, she had it all, and she and it's really mean to us to assume that
human struggle is universal. It's not just one.
Yes, human struggle is universal, and especially coming from even others that shares the same background as me. We had opinions that we never had when we were younger, so we started having opinions about things.
You're older too, so there's that. You're going to be more opinionated.
Yeah, we're just exposed to a lot more. So at a young age, we don't know how to filter them. So that's how I see it now. Like, they didn't know how to filter them then. Like, we were being exposed and they just let everything out.
In your high schoolers, your teenagers, that's part of the reason why a lot of parents struggle with them. They're highly opinionated. Going in on parents. Okay. Well, I asked that because I see it a lot, and it's a big deal. There's actually an HBO special that I want to watch on that, where a lot of kids struggle. Luckily, I think I did a decent job of at least making sure that our side of the family, at least what they say out loud. Because Mexicans be going in too.
Yeah,
they be saying some nasty stuff or mean-spirited stuff that's hateful.
Yes, our family has been so supportive. They have been so supportive that I think recently we were sitting down eating together, and I was like, "How do y'all feel that we're white?"
Yeah, I heard you say that. That was a weird question.
We were just asking because it's very normal for Anna and I to hear the jokes and all that outside of our family, but our family's been so supportive. Like, they don't act like we're different in any way, because we are the only American ones on my dad's side. We are the only mixed children. Yes, and so they're American. we're the only mixed children. And so genuinely, I wanted to know because other people have opinions and they're okay with sharing them to me and Anna. Right off the bat, like, I don't speak Spanish. Like, oh no, you poor child. Like, why would your parents do that to you? And I'm like, oh, it's deeper than that.
Let me share that. So the story I tell, I like to think that I've done really well with them in so many contexts. Exposed them, introduced them, taught them different things. That the one big failure that I made is in not teaching them Spanish. I'm Mexican. Hablo español. Fue mi primer lenguaje. Lo hablo con mis papás. Not enough, but I speak it. I failed at teaching them Spanish. That was my biggest failure is teaching them Spanish.
you're not teaching us Spanish. You said your biggest failure was teaching us Spanish.
Well, my biggest failure is not teaching my daughter Spanish, even though I speak it relatively fluently. I was born in Mexico. That's the first language. I learned English here in kindergarten, first grade. But I didn't teach it to them. I tried. And actually, when you were a baby, I used to speak Spanish to you all the time. But that was the key, is that I was at home with you. I'm getting emotional about it. I was at home with you. I'd come home. I'd speak to you. We'd always be speaking Spanish at the house. I was very proud of that. But once we divorced, things got weird. And it is an excuse, but it's also, I feel like it's true. When they would come over, I had very limited time. And obviously, you were picking up English really quick, and you could pick Spanish. But the difference between you and your cousins, who also, they're bilingual.
Yes.
Right? They all speak both languages. All your cousins speak both languages very well. But at home, they would speak Spanish, predominantly Spanish, and then they go to school. That's the way I learned, and we learn English. But I didn't have you at home. And I can sit here and make every excuse in the book, but the truth is I didn't have the time I needed to feel like you were understanding every word I said, and I placed priority on that. I wanted to do things and not, once again, it sounds like an excuse. So pardon me for kind of getting emotional here. I needed them to understand as much of what I was saying as possible, because they clearly were already understanding English. So I didn't do it. I didn't spend the time I could have, and probably should have. Just didn't have time. I know that I do have a great relationship with them. I know we do have great conversations, and hopefully, and you're speaking more Spanish. You understand more Spanish. I don't say speaking, but you understand more Spanish.
Yeah.
You understand when it's being spoken to you. You know when your grandparents are trying to say something. You understand almost everything that they're saying. But that is what it is. And then I start seeing the TikToks and the memes around the No Sabo kids, and it's like, it's sad, but at the same time, it is what it is. It's a running joke because it's a really common thing. Even when both parents are Mexican American or Mexican, it just happens because they're being raised here. It happens. It's been happening historically throughout the dawn of time, where the new language is what's being picked up. I feel better knowing that it's not like I'm the only weird one. But it's a part of sometimes what happens.
And I also, I've heard some stories coming from kids with immigrant parents who speak almost only Spanish, but they forced themselves to learn English, and then their children, once they had children, it was you're only speaking English, because they have this perspective of, my kids are closer to the American dream if they're more American. And so I heard that, and I think that's, we did Regina Montoya's podcast. There was a young girl that was interviewed, and she spoke about that, the No Sabo kids, and it's like everyone has different backgrounds. Everyone has a different excuse, a different reasoning.
It's in a different explanation for why things worked out.
But it is a thing. There are parents who are scared their kids won't, so they have these American names now, and then they don't speak that much Spanish because it's like they believe you're more in touch with being American if you're...
It's a point of pride. Oh, I know. So, you have a boyfriend?
Yes, I do.
I was hoping you could applaud. Yeah. He's in the room. When you first told me that was a thing, and that you were serious, and that you were really involved, I told you that I had to meet him, and I told you that I needed to know him, and I ended up calling it a bro date. That's what I call it.
Oh yeah,
we call it a bro date. You didn't hesitate when I told you that.
Correct.
When I asked for that, I actually felt it a little bit like, oh well. You were like, sure, just let me know, or let's figure it out. So my question is, why didn't you hesitate? And I'll give you some additional context. I posted about that I was going to have a bro date.
Yeah.
I had so many women, mothers or daughters, say, oh my, there's no way my dad would ever meet anyone I dated when I was young, or versions of that, like, wow, how is that even possible? And I knew it was weird, but when they started chiming in, I'm like, oh, damn, I guess it's really strange. So why did you not hesitate with this idea?
I did not hesitate with this idea because I believe you have really done well at creating an image of who I should be with, or the people I should be interested in, and the people that are attracted to me, like the people that I attract come with the same energy, and so I wasn't scared because I believed in my heart that I chose someone great, that you were gonna love, that you were gonna have a connection with, that it was I know we were still very young, but I know if I'm bringing someone into my life, and then of course having you meet them, then they're on a path to grow and become an amazing human being. And that's just it. You taught me that, and so I knew I am interested in good people. And
so you didn't have a problem with me meeting him?
No. I mean, of course, I mean, yes, there's nerves. There's always nerves. Like, oh my God, like it's alone time too. It's not normal.
Yeah, take him down dark alley.
Yeah, and just it's another thing in our culture, and you're specifically like on that side. It's not traditional for a dad to have alone time with a boyfriend, or it's like we're always together, and so you have always made it a thing that, although you've never done it, you've never done that, I was okay with it because I saw it coming. Because if I'm not okay with someone who can spend alone time with my dad, because I'm scared something's going to be said, or then that was never a good choice to begin with. And so if I would have showed those early signs, then that would have gave myself a hint, like, oh, Faye, you don't believe what you're saying out loud because
or what you think about this individual is true. If you don't feel comfortable.
If I am uncomfortable with you spending alone time and I'm acting like I'm okay, but the second like it's happening, I'm like, oh, freaking out, then it opens up my eyes, like what I really think. And so that's why I think just it's very, very simple. It's like that simple is.
Yeah, because we never talked about it, but I know that you didn't hesitate, and then
and we've had those conversations of when I tell you someone's important to me, when I tell you I make the decisions I make, it's because you taught me to love good people. Like, you've given me a good picture of who I need to be interested in, the values a guy should have, and then if they're not mimicking that, like mimicking you in a way, then I make it obvious, or run away. No, because I don't believe in running away away. It's fixing things. If
it doesn't match that. If that person doesn't match any of those things in the first place, you probably shouldn't even be speaking to them on those terms.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm referring to.
One of the biggest things you taught me is being vulnerable right away. So my core values in life and my boundaries were set right away. I think from day one, those were
with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, although,
make sure we're still talking about him.
Yes. Although, yes, it was like we were barely talking. We were barely dating.
Y'all got serious quick, so I'm like, hell no.
It was a big deal for me to talk about my non-negotiables, my boundaries, because it's better to speak about those than be in a 2-year-long relationship and then.
Oh, by the way, I don't want you doing that because I never liked it. What?
Yeah, sharing once it's happening, even it should be discussed in the beginning. So when because it hurts more than being what's the word? Whenever you get it's better being rejected than being in a relationship and having to break it off because you didn't speak about something in the beginning.
You weren't honest from the jump.
Yeah, you weren't honest. You acted like you're okay with things, but once it happened, you realized how hurt you were. So that's what I say. Like, it's I spoke about those things. We spoke about those things very early on. So whenever you wanted to meet him very early on, I was like, yeah.
Did he hesitate when you offered to meet with him?
He was nervous. He was nervous. It's
thank
new.
you for the honesty. Yeah.
Like I said, it's new. It's something that doesn't happen in our culture. Even in our age range. Like I've never heard of our people in our age group already meeting and getting this close to their partner's parents. I mean, it happens. It happens differently. I feel like for women, it's the women thing. Like women get close. The mother-in-laws and the daughter, like they get very close.
But the boys don't.
The men, yes, they never have that. Yeah, they never have that relationship, and so I knew I knew it was a thing because they don't have the quality time. A lot of men in our culture don't have that quality time with their own fathers, and so getting that with you, it's like
that hit close to home. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and so but I was so supportive towards it actually because if I truly care about my partner and the person I'm with, then I would want a good manly figure to be in their life. And I know that's you. Like you have been that figure for me to kind of mimic on who I'm with. And so them seeing who you truly are and why I believe what I believe and why I stand on what I stand.
It's not fictitious.
Yes, it's not I want a fairy tale. No, it's my dad. Like I have high expectations because who my dad is. And so yeah.
Thank you. When I offered that, it wasn't, and when we talked, it was never about intimidation, and I'm sure that in many cases that is the scenario that plays out is some type of intimidation. Yeah, my girl, I'll hurt you. My girl's a big girl, and clearly you're a good dude. I think I remember I told you something like that. Like if she chooses you, dude, you pass through a lot of qualifications a lot of filters to make it there. So you must be a good person. So let's get to know each other. I know who you are, what you stand for, what you're looking to do in life, that kind of thing. And we've continued it. We're up to our third or fourth one. It's something that I now have scheduled every quarter, at every month, every quarter. So that way we can just check in and see where he's at and questions. My way to try to change the narrative and the stories that revolve around what it means to you. I heard a podcast or some reel yesterday by Charlemagne the God, the Pivot podcast. And he talks about how manhood in reality used to be about being criminals, basically. It was all about having the most sex with the most women and beating up everyone else and doing anything you want. It was almost like, dang, manhood is about being the most macho version.
A jerk.
And there's new criminal deeds. For me, a man is a man that's just comfortable in his own skin, comfortable with other human beings from other different groups, younger, older, female, like you name it. A man is just someone that can be comfortable with anyone and everyone while allowing them to be themselves without feeling intimidated or needing to intimidate. I think that's the key part to it. Because a lot of manhood, the way it's traditionally presented, is the needing to intimidate your children, your spouse, your partner, your family into being a certain way or beating them up.
Like I am I'm
the enforcer.
The enforcer, yes. That's
a traditional way of trying to position ourselves as men, and I feel like it's bigger than that. So my goal with it is have a conversation. Who is this dude? What does he stand for? All right, checks out. It's like, and I had a hunch, obviously, but I want to be in your life. I want to be in your life, and I don't want it to just be one-sided. I wanted him to know that he could have a conversation with me.
He can disagree with me to you.
Man, like, you can tell me that you disagree or she did something that you don't like, and it'll stay here, and I'll give you the honest truth. Like, yeah, like she screwed up. They probably shouldn't have said that. That's probably out of pocket.
And you taught me as well, if I'm not comfortable with what someone disagrees with me, like if he were to come to you, so because y'all have that relationship now to talk about something I did and I'm so scared. Like, what am I then? wrong probably because I'm yeah, if I couldn't. And so those are the things you taught me. And I know although relationships are private and should remain private,
Yes.
I still believe that things that happen between us are still shareable. Like, I don't know. I'm
There's some
comfortable.
things that are intimate.
Yes, but you've taught, like, but because, how do I say this? Like we talked about when running, like running from a relationship.
Running away.
Okay. If I knew I was doing something that I should have done that, like
Should not
that
or should have?
should have, like I should be running away.
Okay.
I think that's what I don't know how to phrase it, is if I were scared for him to like ever meet you or continue speaking to you, that is my sign of, okay, that is your time to leave. Because y'all have that relationship, those signs will show automatically.
Different little signs that you're ashamed almost of your behavior or something that's going on in the relationship.
Yeah. And so,
well,
having that.
all of that. I just, as much as I want to have a relationship with you because you're my daughter, and I told her, like, I will always support you, but I will disagree with you, and I won't have no problem telling you or telling them if it comes up. And I could be kind of an arbitrator, I guess, in the scenario that y'all do disagree, and I don't mind talking to both of y'all. Or just consoling you, or just giving you advice. Sorry, you're in the room, so I'm speaking in first person. He's in the room, he's speaking to him in first person. It's behind this camera. But it was very important to me. I want to do different than previous generations because there's better ways. There's got to be better ways to speak to each other and to hold each other accountable, or just give somebody a shoulder to cry on, or someone to just vent to, or frankly, just have a good time having a conversation about your triumphs and your tribulations. So that was a big deal to me, but I was wanting to hear what it was like on the other side. Like, oh my God, my dad wants to meet you.
I mean, yeah, it's still nerve-wracking. That's the word, right? Because, I mean, yeah, you are my dad, so, and then of course I speak high. I think I like to assume that I speak very highly of you, so that's why I say he was probably like nervous, because, I mean, he has to meet the person, and someone I speak highly about in our relationship. And then I spoke about, like I said, my core values, my boundaries. Most when those topics came up and my non-negotiables came up, I like stated because of my dad. I make it so obvious where some of my core values come from, and just like he can see you and me. He can see my mom and me too.
He also knows that you're not making all this up.
Yes.
Dude, where are you getting this information from?
He knows, like, I even said, like, I would always stand up. Like, I'm very verbal. I get that from my mom. Like, that's where I do stand up for myself. Like, although you've taught me the signs to run away, to do this and that, my mom's taught me to be very verbal and very, I'm very, very upfront about my emotions. Like, if you can read it on me, like, I don't have to shout it, but I will get I could go there, I could raise my voice, I could have. And so yes.
Next question.
Okay, I have a question for you then. How is it like, because I know I'm young, how is it like me coming to you and talking to you, just opening up to you about, I mean, how fast we've moved, and being open to you about it? Like, how was that? Because, like, I know there's some things, or there's several things that I have come to you about us. But the first night I seriously told you, like, oh, this is serious. How is that coming from your side? Your emotions. And
it was nerve-wracking because at the end of the day, you're still my child, or you're my baby. You're the older of the two, but you're still my baby. And it just made me realize that you're no longer a child. Because I look at things and I look around and I'm like, I feel like 2010 was last week and you were 8 years old. It literally feels that way. It's so confusing to think that you're 20, pushing 21. So from that point of view, it was challenging and made me realize that it's time to really get ready because life's about to come at you fast. But aside from that, I felt a sense of joy knowing that you trusted me enough to come with me with that information and that you weren't going to get belittled in any way, that you weren't going to get dismissed for making rush choices and jumping into a new relationship. Or how do you know him? How well do you know him? How do you know that he's any good?
Because I told you right away, like, we weren't even.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking to someone, and I just know, like, and so I told you right away, like, who I was talking to.
Yeah, you did. I have this, as a parent, I try to always instill good values in you. And there comes a point where once they're installed, the values, the programming, the brainwashing, because that's what we're doing as parents, we're brainwashing you. But once that was done, there comes a point where like the program just has to run on its own. And if you doubt as a parent that the programming isn't going to run, as maybe you didn't install it well enough, or you weren't clear, or you weren't, or you were confusing. Yeah, you weren't clear. And I had confidence that I did my best in giving you the values that are going to serve you in life, not some that just served me temporarily, not some that kept you from getting into things because it benefited me, or like kept you out of trouble, but values that were going to serve you for the rest of your life because they're timeless. There's certain things in the world that are just good values to live by. So there comes a time when you're now running the program on your own. You're now running those values, on top of those values, running a life on top of those values. And I have to trust that you are selecting a human being that is of equal or greater value than that which I have offered you. That this young man is good. And I have to trust that you're going to run accordingly. You have things and are aware of things that I didn't learn until I was post 30, period. That's why you're advancing, I think, in life so well. Because you literally have knowledge and information that I didn't have till I was 35, 40, like something a bit of like, it's crazy. So because of that, I feel like you're making connections that I couldn't make at your age. So I have to trust that. So it was crazy, but at the same time, like I felt a tremendous amount of pride that you trusted me enough that I wasn't going to insult your intelligence and your emotional and intellectual intelligence. That might be a oxymoron, but never you mind. You keep listening. What do you think?
Yes, and that's what I think. So I told you about him, and then I like, wait, there's always those conversations, and then
wait, I have something to share. Like, oh, yo, I don't like this.
Yeah, there's so many moments where that happened, and then he had also, I had brought him one day to pick up a desk. There's so many little things where you met.
Oh, you met that guy that picked up the desk? Yeah, what a bum.
Like, I had already knew.
Oh, did I flip it around?
Yes, you flipped it around. I already knew what I wanted, and like I said, we had those conversations.
Meet my dad.
The serious conversations about relationships and our beliefs, both of our beliefs and the core values in a relationship. And you also did very well at teaching if you truly want to be loving and like open, there's going to be a compromise, and you have to learn to be a very compromisable person to be in a good relationship. And so setting those compromises right away, like, oh, this is what I'm going to be compromising. Can you find a middle for me too on this part, please? Or else it's not going to work. And so having those deep and very hard conversations happen in the beginning. And so that's what led to me being able to be like, yeah, there's this one boy. And then,
no, okay.
And then, yeah, you can meet him. You can spend your alone time with him. That's fine. Because I truly think I know him as a human being. And then I told you, we had those conversations. Trust me, I wouldn't be with someone you wouldn't be proud of because of who you are. Yeah, because of who you are as a father, because it's like you have a big role. Create an image, like I said, like you create something that I go and mirror with someone I want to be with.
It's
and
sad.
so
It's not sad. It's crazy. If you break it down, it's been said, it's been studied that a lot of us, we end up partnering up with the version of our parents, so mother or father. And like, that was actually something that, thanks for reminding me, that's something that I thought of years ago as I was divorcing and trying to rebuild my life. Like, I came across that information that your children will inevitably find a version of you as their partner. I'm like, oh, hell no. I got to do something about that. I have to be, because I wasn't very proud of the man I was. So what did I need to do? I tried to take steps towards improving who I was internally and externally. So by the time you get to here now, and hearing that, it's like, that makes me incredibly happy that I became that human being that you can be proud of, that you can find in a version of, which is eerie, by the way. Dude was so crazy. But you are a good human being. You're a fantastic person. I've said this to her numerous times. She has a good bullshit detector. She can smell it. And she's been trained, she's been taught, and she knows what good human being looks like. I like to think I am. And last topic of the day is this. You're getting old.
Yes, I am.
So's your sister.
Yes.
Her graduation was last week. My youngest daughter's graduation was last Saturday, and her graduation party was on Sunday, and it's kind of crazy to think that we're here now. 18 years ago. No, wait. Yeah, 18 years ago. No. Long time ago, when I divorced, I didn't know how we were going to get here.
Yeah.
I literally, when I say I was in pieces, I was in pieces. I had faith that it would all come together. I was going to do everything I can in my power to make sure to be there for them and do all these things. But it's crazy that we're here. I have something I'm working on. I'm going to title it 15 Summers.
Okay.
That's all I had. 15 summers. And with you, it was 14. I had 14 summers with you and 15 with your sister. And that's all I had. 1 month every summer in June. I ran out of Junes with you girls. Where's your sister right now? Because she's grown. She's 18. She has a car. She has a job. She's about to go to college. And that's the question, though. What's that like? How does it feel knowing that your baby sister is about to go bye-bye?
It's very, very, like, I get very emotional sometimes. It hits me at different times. But like, I feel so proud. That's like all I can say. Like, well, one, I know her and I are almost the complete opposite, but we are so similar in so many ways. And so seeing her, because I know, like, my dad shares how proud he is of me, and then she shares with me, but seeing her now go towards her journey, like start her journey, and do it her way, it makes me feel so happy. And it only shows like how strong we are because we're choosing our paths. And
it's a different path than yours, right?
Yeah, it's a completely different path, but like I know she's gonna do amazing. Like I am so, like I speak so highly about her to everyone, about how smart she is. Goodness, because we are, how do I say? So her weaknesses are like my strengths, and my weaknesses are her strengths. Like that's why I think we get along so well, and we're so close, because we are the opposites, but together, like we have always been amazing together. Don't get in an argument with me and Anna because we disagree with each other, but we'll come at you. We disagree so well that we can argue against someone else, and so it's so crazy seeing her leave. And she's, I mean, we always knew Anna was going to college. It was always a thing.
It was in the cards for her. She's
it was
very much an academic.
Yes, and so seeing her finally get comfortable, and even if she's not comfortable yet, I know while she's in college, she's going to figure herself out. Knowing, because that's a tough position to put yourself into, is moving away from family, and then figuring out who you're going to be. I mean, I staged out. I'm pretty close to my dad right now. And so it's like, she's brave for that. And being like one of the first in our family, even on my mom's side, to leave Texas it's insane. And so, I mean, she knows that I spoil her as much as I can before she leaves.
She'll be here.
But I'm very proud to say that I've given her all the love while she's been here, and it's not like, oh, I'm giving you love because you're leaving now. And that's why I guess I'm not spoiling her to a certain extent. Like, I'm not going too crazy just because she's leaving, because I know I'm going to still see her. And this is my way of saying she better call me, because we're not losing contact at all. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's insane. I'm actually working on planning her. What am I planning? Her trip to drop her off.
Oh yeah, she's taking her car.
Yeah, she's taking her car.
That's insane. She told me the day, and I was like, goodness, oh my God, you're driving all the way over there.
Yeah, it's 14 hours. She's got to be. Yes. Sorry, you didn't get to see that. We did. He bugged out like, what? 14 hours. It's a 14-hour drive. We're working on the logistics of that. We have to finalize it, but she needs to be there sometime in August. I forget, middle of August. And that's crazy because we were just. I hope this is the last big planning thing I have to do. I hate this part of life, planning, but I do it.
All of life.
That's true. However, like the graduation party was a killer. Like Carla handled most of it, thank God, or else I would have lost my mind. But planning that, Airbnb, driving up, scheduling the drive, what time we got to be there, what time we coming back, and actually getting the time off. That'll be an incredibly emotional drive. But I'm so excited for her. I feel that we all need to travel. We all need to ride out into the wind for a while. If possible, like you stayed, I stayed. There's nothing wrong with it either, but I try to encourage her that if it's available to her, she should try it, because I think it'll help shape her into a new person. I am so curious. I was talking to Carla yesterday about this. So curious to see what she's at in 2 years. Not 4, 2. As she shapes into the woman that she's going to become, I think.
Yeah, because even... It took me a while. Like, even after taking the internship, like, I wasn't ready from, like, oh.
Yeah, but even then at 18, but between 18 when you got that, essentially got that, to now, you've become the woman that you basically are going to be. I think you've stepped into the womanly role and that persona. So
yeah, of who I am going to be for the rest of my life. Yes, exactly. And even then, I faced the challenges, those obstacles of like we talked in the last one, like, do I do what everyone's doing and go to a job that's making the most money, or do I stay at a job that's going to give me the most, and the future, the most opportunity? Exactly. Yeah. And so she's going to have that. I mean, she's going to be juggling a lot. Like, she's going to be doing a lot, and so we're going to see her, because we like to think we know who we are. Like, at 18, like, I already knew, like, 18 is nothing. Like, even 20 is nothing. Like, I still have so much life to live. But now I know who I'm becoming. I know my future. I know my path. And so seeing Anna have that, because I know she's going to be out there for 5 years, and seeing, like, her in 2 years say, like, maybe she stays out there, or after this, I'm moving even further from y'all.
It's possible.
Like, because this is the stuff you realize, because, like, although you're not settling down at 20 and retiring, like, at this moment, I know where I want to go. Like, I know where I want to settle down. I know the life that I want to have in 10 years from now. I know how I want it to look like. And so that's why I am the human that I am. Like, that's why I do certain things I do, because I'm working towards that. And so seeing Anna really, really decide who she's going to be, and
what she's going to study, what she's...
She has an idea. Like, she has an idea.
Yeah.
But she has a lot more, I believe, compared to me, she has a lot more wiggle room to change her mind, because I kind of had set that path for myself that I was like, this is it. But that's the thing, I knew myself, that I was going to like it. I saw my dad, I saw him love every aspect of it, in his job. And then I knew I am like the image, like I am him. I am my dad in many ways. And so I'm like, okay, then maybe this will fit my personality, and it did. Yeah, and like it did, but it has perfectly, I can't imagine myself doing anything else. But seeing Anna kind of really figure out, because she's gonna have so much fun out there. I know it. And then she's gonna face so many things, and
she's a problem solver too.
No, really, really strong, because she's doing it
on her own, in a sense. Yeah, she's a strong little human being, though.
Because I keep like, what am I gonna get her for her present? Because I still haven't even given her graduation present. And
oh wait, we got to give her a going away present or something?
No, but that's how. No, a graduation present. You've given her
there's more.
No, the actual her graduation present, because I know how tough it is. Like, I hear all the college stories my friends have, and I wish I could help. There's like these moments in my head, like I want to give her a credit card and like, Anna, this is your budget. So if you ever need, like, I don't want her to ever starve. Like, I don't want her to go through those college. Like, I know you're here for her. I'm here for her. She has my mom. She has Monique. She has all of us. But having that, so she knows that's something she should never stress about. And knowing that I'm here for her, like, you don't have to ask, because that's what you also put into us. We're really good at not asking. But she's going to be in a different situation where there are going to be times where she's going to need to ask, because I mean, she's going for 5 years and she's getting her master's. That's insane. Like, she's going to be super busy. And so I want her to know that I'm already here for you. You don't have to ask.
You have a support system.
Yeah, you have a support system.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard it gets for people who do move away from home and they're actually working. I want her to be able to focus on that while she's gone, and not ever have to worry, because I still have that support system here. Although I don't ask for the help. I know I have it.
Not because I won't give it to her.
Yeah, not because
she's handling it. She's problem solving. To get back to point number one.
But it's harder to have that when you're away from family. And then, of course, you have put that into us where we're never asking for anything. And so I know that's a big quality of ours, but it also could be not a quality.
That's fair. That is a great point, actually.
So I don't want to see her struggle because she's
too proud.
She doesn't
like if dad said I should figure it out. No, we're still here. Like, there's some reality to the world where,
because it's like, Anna, in reality, you're super far away from everyone. It's okay to have that.
So this is what I'm gonna do, since you made this a point. I'm gonna have a conversation with her, and we can all have it, like, sister, daughter, like, listen, like, you are amazing and you're gonna do great things. However, at times, if you stumble, we're here. You don't have to starve. There's none of that. Like, we're here, and don't even feel any
to treat yourself, because that's a big thing too.
You getting this information from your college friends?
No,
because you feel like you're sharing this from a place of knowing. That's why.
Well, yeah, no, I know. Like, everybody has their broke college kid moments, and like, they actually were starving. They actually
ramen and noodles, ramen, $6 for $1.
And there's a
tuna.
Is panini right?
Yeah, it's some bread.
So yeah, there's like I don't know, because they don't allow certain things in dorms and in certain housing. So like, people literally were making like the weirdest things in college.
Is he on TikTok?
No, I actually have heard stories, because like mentors that were in high school were in college, like, although they were there to tell us how great college was, they were giving us a lot of horrible stories.
So I never heard those. I didn't get that far, because I didn't go to college and I didn't have those conversations. So
yes, so and it's hard to treat yourself whenever you're working towards your dreams. It's like, no, like it's hard. And so like, being there to tell her, like, and give her that would be awesome. So
we'll make sure to have that conversation. Okay, let's book that for later.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Thank you to the studio audience. He gave us a thumbs up. I think he enjoyed it. appreciate you for tuning in. Once again, my name is Teevee. I was going to say my marketing name. My alias. Thank you for tuning into the Teevee Show Podcast. This is...
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review. I don't know. There's buttons here. There's probably something you could do. Share this with the world. This is the Daddy-Daughter Podcast. We'll continue to do these until she says no or something else happens to me. Until then, bye-bye.
Why would you say that?
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Choke.